Okay, so I guess it's back to business as usual. Timothy, while I was away, bought a new battery for out in the fuel shed and a new battery charger. The other battery charger finally took a shit. So that had to be done. There's a couple 5020 panels here that need to get put back in my 5020. But we brought the old stack wagon in to do maintenance service work on it. Tires are getting a little funky. Not too terribly bad, but just a little funky. He put tire eject into it. I don't see anything coming out. I think if anything, it's a bead leak over anything on both of them because they were both low. And I wanted him to do the tire eject in it because we are going to be taking this one to North Carolina as well as the new one. The job has gotten bigger, and we had a hard time getting everything stacked last year with just the one stack wagon. I know that it wasn't that it was impossible, it was just difficult to get it all caught up, and we did fall behind on stacking there a little bit. Now, a wagon and a tractor with a loader on it, you know, it's not as fast as what this 6-bale stack wagon is. So you put this on a tractor that can go 25 miles an hour, and you know, or 25 miles an hour or so with suspension, and you'll be able to move across the fields really quick. And it'll go a lot faster than, say, the wagon with the loader, because you got to grab each and every bale. You know, you grab one, then you grab two, then you grab three, then you set it up on the wagon. Back away, go get three more, set it on a wagon, and then in reverse. You have to do it in reverse. So it just really takes a long time. This one here, you go out in the field, you grab 6 bales, you come back, stack them, go back, grab 6 bales, stack them, go back and forth. It's a lot faster. Would I love to have another Bale Runner 16K? Hell yeah. That thing was much, much better than what this is. But, you know, this is what I've got. This is what I'm going to use. And if the opportunity strikes the way I want it to, which I'm hoping it does, I've got another job that I'm working on. I will just get a Stinger stack wagon and leave this one home, and we'll be able to really do some work with the Stinger stack wagon. We'd probably be able to stack for other people as well down there with that thing. So anyway, no, the track skid steer is still here. I think I'm just going to send that one out and have it rebuilt, and then be done with it, I guess. I don't know. Can't seem to get the right one. Everybody that says they've got it, turns out they don't got it. So whatever, it is what it is. But I did get a bunch of parts. And within these bunch of parts, I had to get this piece here because I screwed up. When I did this, I screwed up. And I didn't get the right... I over-tightened them and snapped these off, so they're all shot. So they have to be redone. I think there's 5 of them in here. They're all, 5 or 6 of them. I don't know. What do we got here? Yeah, there's 5 of them. They're all the same. I don't know why this one has a red tag onto it, but yeah, these things are pretty expensive. This was broken. It's my fault that they broke. Not Crohn's fault. It's my fault. That's an unnecessary have to purchase kind of thing. This is the shear or the knife for in the plunger. This thing does have 43,000 bales on it now, and it's just a good thing to have those on hand. There should be, I think I've got I do have other bits and pieces, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to take everything out of here and lay it out on the ground. I do have the sheet with the parts, and I'm going to go through each and every part number that I have, and I'm going to mark it off as I go. That includes the parts that I got before I went to the Philippines and whatnot. After I got back, I got kits there. I've got more of these little guys here. These are very important. I'm going to talk about these a little bit. These are the cams for the bill hook. When you start having knotter problems with these Crohns, and they're not releasing the when they're not releasing the twine from the bill hook, it's just little minute wear items that are causing that bill hook to not open wide enough, and you're getting a piercing of the twine, or you're getting a timing issue. It is either opening too late or closing too early, or one of the, or both, causing it to hang up on that bill hook. So with 43,000 bales on it, it's just time to rebuild the knotters, just because I'm doing custom work. Now, when you're doing custom work, everything has to run perfectly, flawless. By the end of the custom job, if it's not working flawlessly, I'm pretty good at diagnosing problems and getting them going. But towards the end of the job, you do expect to have some hiccups here and there. At the very beginning, hiccups. At the very end, hiccups until you get it adjusted correctly. And the other thing is, with all these parts that I've got here, now there's not quite $10,000 worth of parts here. And I know there's some guys that were like freaking out, like, oh my God, if you'd have bought a Heston or a New Holland, you'd never have these problems. It would never cost you so much. I run X number of bales through it. You got to understand that I actually bought extra bits and pieces. You know, like, so if I got 6 of one thing, I actually got 12 because I have 2 balers, you know, and, you know, there's things that you wouldn't normally purchase, like these guys here. These are the guys that hold the header up. They're worn, and the header isn't staying up high enough, up off the ground far enough. These are the knives that go on the plunger. You know, they're just I got parts everywhere here. And I've got added parts or extra parts for it that I don't need to put on here, like springs and pieces like that. I did purchase some gizmos to go in here, which Cody has already gotten those in. I forget what it was. Was it one of these? It was a sprocket or something. What was it? Oh, it was this piece in here. This piece in here where that is on. And it still looks to me as though it's a little bit cocked, but what can you do, you know? You just run it. These have new chains on them. That's for the accelerator. You put new chains on them. I should have put new chains on this more often than I did because I'm starting to get a little more wear there than I'd like. But again, here's a bunch of spare parts that I don't need. These are parts that belong. You know, these have been replaced. I've got another bunch in the truck. These I've been buy extra ones because they break every once in a while. You know, so not only is there almost $10,000 worth of parts here, but probably 4,000 of those $10,000 are, or 9,000. It's about, let's see, 9,000 and some dollars worth of parts. It's not quite 10,000. So it's just say there's $4,700 worth of parts that are, you know, yeah, spare parts or things that you only replace once every 40 some odd thousand bales. But yeah, there's a lot of money and bits and pieces on these things. But when you go to the field, you just go to the field and you work. I know a lot of people are like, oh yeah, well you spend too much money on those, and a lot of people don't like the Krone balers because they're so expensive to maintain. I mean, like these things. These are just spare bits for the pickup tines. Why they're in there, I have no idea. You have to do these consumables, and I find it really hard to believe. There was a couple of people that commented, and I'm starting to believe that there's getting to be more and more people on YouTube that really have nothing better to do than criticize, and it's kind of getting tiring. But you know, I'm not going to complain about it because I do know this, and I was watching a television show last night at 2 o'clock in the morning, and it was called George Washington or Washington. And I love history. I'm a history buff. I love to learn about American history and world history. So you can pretty much ask me anything, and I have some knowledge on it. Some of it's not accurate knowledge, but I have some degree of knowledge on most of the events in the last 100 to 200 or even 300 years of history. I mean, the United States has only been around since 1776 was the Declaration. But anyways, yeah, I have knowledge, but it doesn't even matter. I find it hard to believe that, and I've owned these machines. I have a Heston. I've had 5 New Hollands in my career. 5 New Hollands in my career. And I know that the New Holland was the most expensive baler that I ever bought as far as maintenance-wise. And I had a guy say, oh, I've got a New Holland, and I do 15,000 bales a year, and I'd only put $2,500 a year in it. Well, I think there's 96 tines on a New Holland. Let's just say, for shits and giggles, there's 100 pickup tines on a New Holland pickup. Now, alone, those pickup tines are like $6 each, $5 to $6 a piece. So you've got, just say $500 right there in that pickup, and 15,000 bales, you're going to replace those tines. I don't know what your conditions are. It depends on conditions. I mean, even in straw, we were burning through the tines. It's just the way it is. So I just find that to be not an accurate number. And if you had a dealership do the work, you got $5,000 right there anyway in work if you do only $2,500. Because for the most part, in my experience, labor is more than what the parts are in most cases. It's annoying as hell, but that's what happens. That's just me. So, anyways, and in the Heston, when I bought that Heston, I think I put about $4,000 or $5,000 into that Heston in actual Heston parts, and it still needs stuff. So, I don't even know what to say about some of these people that make these comments. That it's just amazing to me because they think I don't know. It's like, this is my wheelhouse. This is my wheelhouse. I do know. I know the business. I know the balers. I know Heston balers. I know New Holland balers. I ran a John Deere baler, and I'm glad I don't own a John Deere baler because I know someone that has a John Deere baler, and they're like, oh, yeah, in dry material, they're awesome. But when you get into a wet material situation, you're kind of screwed. You won't know what to do with yourself. But anyways, this is just normal routine maintenance stuff for me, and I have 2 of these balers, and most of the parts that are right before you here, they're the nickel and dime shit that adds up and gets really expensive. I mean, from these bits and pieces here, it's just really expensive. I'm replacing the gears on the knotters, not because I need to, because I want to. There's probably nothing wrong with these things, but 43,000 bales allows for slop and play in there, and I want these knotters to work without any problems. So there's probably $4,000 worth of parts that I could get away with not putting in there, but I'm going to do it anyway because I need it to run flawlessly. Because time is money. Just say that $10,000. If I'm down for 3 days, or let's put it this way, if I'm off the tractor 15 times a day, and there's an average of 5 minutes every time I get off the tractor, which is probably low. Let's just say 10 minutes. Say 10 minutes every time I get off the tractor. If I got to get off the tractor and go up there and play around with knotters, it's 5 to 10 minutes. So 10 minutes. 10 minutes, 15 times a day. That's 150 minutes. So there's, just for shits and giggles, let's downplay that and go to 2 hours a day. 2 hours a day over the course of 60 days. That's 120 hours. That is literally, in a work week, for a normal human being, 40, 80, what is that, 120. That's 3 weeks out of 8, 6 or 8, yeah. So, yeah, just think about that. That's a lot of damn time. Well, am I right here? My math is probably wrong. But anyways, whatever. It's a lot of time. So when you add up time versus the money in parts, and this is where I lose people. They just can't comprehend this. I comprehend it because I'm the guy that's in business, doing this. Time is money. Money is time. So if I'm off the tractor fixing something or constantly, repetitively doing an operation that could be fixed with, say, $4,000 worth of parts, and over the course of 8 weeks that I'm off of that tractor, 120 minutes over that course, oh my God, that's a long time, 120 minutes. It's days. It's days of work, 120 minutes. It's days of work. Money is time. It's the cost of what it takes to fix minute little issues with your baler over the course of the day. And I'm going to settle with that 120 minutes a day. If you're off of that tractor 10 times a day, and 10 times a day, sometimes we work, in the custom world, sometimes you're working, 12 hours, sometimes you're working 20. And that does actually happen. Happens many times. So let's just say in a 24-hour period, you're off that tractor 10 times fixing something that could be repaired by a bunch of parts that you purchase. So I know there's people that are just not going to understand this, and it's okay because they're not in business or they just don't know how to add time, money, and loss. So if those boxes that are sitting there, these are, if you can read this, I have 2 pages of parts here. And in those 2 pages, this is just the total, and I can give you that number right there. I don't know if you can see it, $9,400 and some odd dollars. That was just for those boxes, and there are parts missing. I have to call Messick's tomorrow. Tomorrow's Monday, and I will be able to get that straightened out because I need all of my parts that I bought and paid for, not just some of them. This baler's going to have some major things done to it, and I just have to have everything running correctly. So if you take that 10 times, getting off the tractor, approximately 10 times, and it's somewhere around 7 minutes every time because you got to stop the tractor, you've got to get off the tractor, you've got to walk to the back, you've got to climb up to the top, you've got to diagnose what the issue is. Now, sometimes it's only going to take you 2 or 3 minutes, but other times a broken bill hook can take you as much as a half an hour to get that straightened out. So I think that 120 minutes with broken or issues, and believe me, I've done this so long, I know that sometimes 10 times a day is nothing. Sometimes you're off that thing 15, 25 times a day, fooling with little stupid things. Now, towards the end of the fodder job, we were on and off of that tractor 20, 30 times a day. It was just ridiculous. I just didn't have the parts to get it working 100%. That's why I've got all these parts right now. They both wore out together. I know what the problems are, and I will discuss that later in the rebuild series as I'm going on that. But if you take 120 minutes a day, which is 2 hours a day, and believe me, it can add up like that. 2 hours a day. We were down there for 7 weeks. I guess I've left my phone downstairs. I can't do the math. But we were down there for 7 weeks in North Carolina. We really didn't have any problems. But yet, 7 times 2 is 14. So 14 hours in a week is what we would have been off of those tractors. Now, we were down there for 7 weeks, but it took us 3 weeks and 3 days of actual run time. That's what it took us to bale those almost 13,000 bales. Okay? So, we'll do this. So, it's 14 times 3. So, 14, 28. 28 and 28 is what, 90, 20, 40, 50, 60, 62, 62 hours? 62 hours, right? 62 hours. Let's just say it was 70 hours in total because of those 3 extra days in those 3 weeks. So 70 hours. That is nearly 2 weeks of someone actually going to a job and working 8-hour days. Okay. 70 hours of on and off if your baler is not running at optimal performance. So 70 hours, and what do people make today? I know that farmers really don't have an hourly rate. If we did, we'd all be broke paying ourselves. But let's just say $25, we can do $25, right? I would say $25 would probably be pretty accurate as to what we would be, making per hour on average. If we worked, full-time jobs that or careers, let's say in careers, $25 an hour. Which I know some people in the union they make like $90 an hour. So let's just say $25. That's a pretty good average. From the guys that are working $90 an hour to the guys that are working for $10 an hour, or $15 an hour, $25 an hour, wouldn't be just too god-awful bad. Now, if you're going to be working for me, you're going to be getting like, $18.50 an hour to run a baler. A baler operator is $18.50 an hour, so we could use that. Let let me pause this real quick, and I'm going to go get my calculator. Okay, so it's 48 hours. I did the math. It's 48 hours. So if I've got 3 weeks, which 7 times 3 plus 3 days, that was 24 actual days of work that we ran, and we can times that by 2, which gives us 48 hours. 48 hours times, let's just say for hired hand, we do $18.50 an hour. That gives us 888. We have 2 balers. This is working. We times that by 2. That is $1,776 for those 2 balers in downtime. Okay, it's downtime. I mean, that's what it is. Now, when we did the corn fodder job, that was pretty intense. We were gone for, what were we gone, 8 weeks? And of that 8 weeks, I think we sat for possibly 2 weeks. I'm pretty sure it was only about 2 weeks. We came home one 4-day weekend, and then the rest, it was just a few days that we didn't work. Now, if I do that, that's actually 8 weeks. So we do 8 times 7 equals 56 days times 2 is 112 hours times 18.50 equals, now that's 2,000. So you're looking at $4,000 in just that job. Those 2 jobs, around approximately 4,000. Just say about $4,000 in lost time. Oh, wait a minute. Did I times that by 2? I did times that by 2. Now, clear. I think I'm wrong. 8 times 7 equals 56 times 2 equals 112 hours times 112 by 18.50 equals $2,072, plus times that by 2 because there's 2 balers running, times that by 2, and that equals $4,144 plus the $1,800, 1,800, there's $5,944, and this is for cheap labor. It's not what I would charge myself, plus the other, I could honestly say probably another 50 or so days of actual work at home here. So you're looking at 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You're looking at $10,000 in lost revenue. All right, and why would I lose that revenue? You know, I mean, I'm sure there's people who are saying, "Oh, why would you lose the revenue?" I mean, you just make it up tomorrow, or you do it the next day. Well, when you're looking at approximately 60, 70, 80, 90 days, 90 days of work, and you put that to 190 hours, 180 hours of lost time. 180. I'm doing math now. That's crazy. 180 hours divided by 24 equals, that's 7.5 days of lost work. All right. So, and that's just labor. Okay, that's just labor. Now, in that 7.5 days on the fodder job, that means that you've got 7.5 days of stuff growing in the fodder. Down in Virginia and Maryland, it gets very green. Lost hundreds of acres, literally hundreds of acres, because of corn growing volunteer corn growing. I left it, and they disked it down. It just went bye-bye. That was the end of it. So it gets lost. It gets gone. It just gets gone. Same thing here. When you get to a point in New Jersey, usually around October, late October, November, it'll start to break down. And instead of getting 2.5 tons to the acre, you'll get 2 tons to the acre because of the natural decaying process. So you're losing money on labor, you're losing money on tonnage, and you're just losing. You're losing because of aggravation. Aggravation, that takes its toll as well. So, $10,000 to repair that one baler and have a bunch of spare parts for the other baler. It would probably, if I was to do the work on each baler that I'm going to be doing to the baler that I'm going to be working on here in the shop today and tomorrow, that probably all week, it would probably equal out to about $10,000 worth of, or $10,000 worth of parts in each one. So $10,000 in parts, so there's $20,000, and you're still, it's lost labor time. You're still paying those people you're still paying that body to get off that tractor, go to the back. You're wasting fuel, you're wasting time, you're wasting, it just piles up. So have I lost anything by repairing these balers and maintaining them? I say no. I think that it's just good practice. And when somebody tells me, oh, I've got a New Holland baler and I run 15,000 bales a year through it and it only costs me $2,500 in spare parts to in maintenance parts to keep it running and it's flawless all year long, I call bullshit. Now, maybe if you're in Arizona or somewhere's in the Midwest where they turn the water, or in the West or the Southwest where you turn the water on, or even the West, Oregon, Washington, and there's areas out there that everything is bone-ass dry, and it's not hard on your equipment to actually bale these things. I'm looking for Kansas balers, ones that have run straw for, say, 10 to 20,000 bales. That's what I'm looking for, a Krone in that generation, something that was built between 2016 and 2020. With those numbers of hours bales on them, because they're easy bales. When you get into mulch hay, it gets pretty tough to deal with. Fodder, really hard on the balers. It's just really hard on the balers. So you kind of gotta, regionally it's different than, and maybe this person that was saying this is working out in Arizona, Nevada, wherever the hell they're baling their material at, where it's very dry, so dry that they actually have to run steamers or bale at night because there's a little bit of moisture to bring the moisture content up in their alfalfa or whatever they're baling, alfalfa, wheat straw. Alfalfa, in my opinion, is the easiest damn thing to bale. I baled alfalfa with a New Holland baler, and it just chugs right along and shits out a square bale, squarer than square as square can be. And it's easy on the baler. You get into mulch hay when things get up around 25 to 35% moisture and you're slugging it through there, it's hard on everything. So, maybe this person is telling the truth. Maybe not, but if you were to put that machine in my conditions, you would wish you had a Krone baler. Or if you ran your Krone baler in the conditions that you are running, it may cost you $2,500 a year in repair parts on that one as well, because the only thing you're going to repair on those are the VFS bearings. There's bearings in there, and they have to be replaced, and they're about $2,500 to do that entire thing. So I know that for a fact, because last year when I worked on the baler that I'm going to be working on this year, that's all I replaced was those bearings. There was bearings and pickup tines and some bands or some guards for the pickup. That was it. I think I got away with like $3,000 worth of repair parts in that whole entire baler. We went and we baled. That baler baled 16,000 and some bales this year. Pretty much flawless until the end. And this is just put it back together. So that was 2 years on about $4,000 worth of parts, with the exception of the gearbox, and I'm probably forgetting something else. But anyways, I'm done talking. I'm going to put this up, and you guys can criticize and ostracize and tell me I'm a jackass all you want for the next 3 or 4 months, for all I care. Enjoy. I can get it going within minutes, if not an hour. So there you go. That's the deal right there. I got to go get a load of hay and so that Carl has something to run on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So that's what's going on in here. Tomorrow you're going to actually see me, or even maybe later in this video. This is 16 minutes. I'm going to have these things laid out and check off what I have and what I don't have. And then over the next few days, you're going to see me working on this baler, because there's a lot of things that need to be done inside, and I've been waiting for these parts to get here. This is the wrong part. These parts are the wrong parts for this baler. I don't know why they sent me those, but there's rails. I was supposed to have rails, not those shims, and I don't know. I gotta deal with that. But anyway, here we go.